I've been seeing a lot of people making videos about the books that they've been avoiding or the books that are intimidated, and then they pick it up, read it, and justify for themselves if the reason why they've been avoiding reading these books are justifiable, I guess. So in today's video, I'm gonna share a few books that I am too scared to read or books that are intimidated because of some reasons, and I'm gonna let you know what the reasons are for each of these books that I pick. So let's get started. The very first book in my list is Lock Every Door by Riley Sager. I've heard so many great things about his books, and honestly, I'm kind of curious. I don't really usually read thriller, but I decided to pick this up when I saw it, I think in the beginning of the year when I was thrifting in Las Vegas. This book is about Jules, who got a job as an apartment sitter at this famous apartment building in Manhattan. She was excited for this job because she needs it. After a few days of, I think, starting in this building, apartment sitting, she found that one of her other, apartment sitter goes missing. And that is when Jules suspected that there is some type of sinister, or what does it say, dark forces at work behind this building facade. So she's trying to dig deeper into the building's past, and she realized that I think this building is pretty dangerous, and in order for her to escape it, she has to solve what is going on in the building. So it sounds a little bit scary. It definitely intimidates me to pick up this book and read it, and I feel like if I will be reading this in the future, I'll definitely read it during the day, never before I go to sleep. This next couple books I think are intimidated because they are probably classified as high fantasy, but let me know if it's otherwise, because honestly I am new to fantasy. I don't really usually read fantasy all that much, so I don't really keep up with a lot of the trend or the classification and all of that. The first book in this high fantasy genre that I'm scared of reading is Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. This series was going crazy viral, I think, in the beginning of the year when I decided that I want to take reading more seriously, because the third book in the series, Onyx Storm, just came out, I think in January, I want to say. So I, of course, was intrigued by the hype. I wanted to know why these book series are super popular, and I decided to pick Fourth Wing as well as Iron Flame as well as Onyx Storm the next few months after I found out about this book series. So of course I have to start reading the series if I want to not waste the books that I already got. But if you don't know about this book, this is basically about Violet, who entered the war college, Basquiat War College, I think that's what it is. Her plan is just to kind of lay low, maybe live a quiet college life among books and history. But then, because her mom is the commanding general, she ordered Violet to join the elite of Navarre, the dragon riders. But because she already knows her weakness, she is small, she is brittle, death is only a heartbeat away, because the dragons usually don't connect with fragile humans. They would incinerate them. So she's trying to survive, and I think her and Zayden, which is the ruthless and powerful wing leader in the dragon riders department or whatever, I think they might have something going on. I don't know. Like I said, I really want to understand the hype of this fantasy book series, so I have to read it for myself. So hopefully I will read this very soon. The next book that is a little bit also intimidated because I think it is considered high fantasy, and I think the story of this series is a little bit out of the box for me, because Fourth Wing is about a war college, a school. I've been to school before. I kind of understand the ins and outs of a college, but this one, I'm not even sure what this really is all about. But it is A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. Again, this book series, this author is just super popular. People love it, people hate it. But honestly, I just want to read it for myself, because her book series are seriously super hyped up, even though this has been out for years, a long time ago. Maybe not a long time ago. I don't know when this book was first released. Let's see. I think this book was released in 2015, so it's over 10 years ago, but a lot of people still read this, reread them, and starting to read the series. So I just want to understand the hype. And like I said, I'm not really sure like what the setting is of this book series, but it's basically about 19-year-old huntress Feyre. She kills a wolf in the woods. A terrifying creature arrives to demand retribution. So basically, she was dragged to a treacherous magical land she knows about only from legends, and she discovers that her captor is not truly a beast, but one of the little immortal fairies who once ruled her world. At least he's not a beast all the time, and she adapts to her new home. Her feelings for the fairy, Tamlin, transform from icy hostility into a fiery passion that burns through every lie she's been told about the beautiful, dangerous world of the Fae. But something is not right in the fairyland. An ancient, wicked shadow is growing, and she must find a way to stop it or doom Tamlin and his world forever. So I think like the fairy world is definitely something new. I've never really read a book about that world, so I feel like this is gonna be a little bit harder for me to understand and a little bit more intimidating than Fort Wing. But hopefully, like I said, I will start reading some of the book series that I have in my personal library. I was saying that once I hit my reading goal of this year, which is 50 books, I'm at, I want to say 46. So I think by mid-July, I should be able to complete that reading goal. So I'm gonna start reading my book series. I know in the summer, up until like the end of August, I think I still will stick to my summer TBR that I've picked blindly already so far. So I might start my fantasy series and other book series probably in the fall. So hopefully September, October-ish. So stay tuned to find out about what my thoughts are about these books. The next book that I have on this list is Lights Out by Nafessa Allen, I believe. You probably can guess why this book is intimidating for me, because it is dark romance. And if you read this book or have read the synopsis of this book, it is a little bit out of the box, at least for me. A dark romance like you've never seen before. Can you handle the right? I mean, that is the first blurb in the back of the book. I mean, I don't know if I can handle it, so let's see. I want someone with a soul as black as night, someone who would burn the world down for me and not lose a single minute of sleep over it. Trauma nurse Ali Capellucci does not need any more kings. She likes the one she's landed on just fine. To her, nothing could top the masked man she follows online. She fantasizes about one man in particular hunting her down, but she never could have guessed that one drunken text could make those dreams into reality. Josh Hammond has spent his life avoiding the limelight, but his online persona is another story. At night, he posts masked thirst traps for his millions of fans, but one follower has caught his eye, Ali. Together, Ali and Josh live out their darkest fantasies, unaware that Ali has captured the attention of someone with far more sinister intentions. As Josh turns from predator to protector, he must ask himself how far he will go for the woman he's obsessed with. So I will leave it at that. I honestly have no other comment to say because I've never really read any dark romance novel, but this might be the start of it. And just reading the back of the book, it makes me even more intimidated. The next book that I have in this list is The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna. I think the main reason is because I know this book is gonna make me sad, or it is a sad book, very emotional. And also look at how thick it is. It is really thick, and I don't think I've ever read a book this thick. So let me see how many pages there are. 564 of emotional and sad books that I think will destroy my heart by the end of this. So I know that this is going to be adapted to a movie, and it's going to be played by the Fanning sister, Dakota and Elle. So this is about two sisters, and the setting of this book is during the World War II. The two sisters, separated by years and experience, by ideals, passion, and circumstance, each embarking on her own dangerous path towards survival, love, and freedom in German-occupied, war-torn France. A heartbreakingly beautiful novel that celebrates the resilience of the human spirit and the durability of women. It is a novel for everyone, a novel for a lifetime. So I know that Chris and Hannah usually write books with strong women characters, and I'm kind of excited to read it because I've heard so many great things, but also not super excited because of how the story is, how it's going, the setting of the story, and it's about two sisters. I do have two younger sisters, and I feel like I'm definitely gonna be super immersed into this story, especially because I'm the oldest, so I probably will see myself with the oldest sister. I'm not sure if they're like, I'm pretty sure they're sisters, not twins. I don't know when I'm gonna pick it up. I don't know if I'm gonna read it this year though. We shall see. Maybe next spring or maybe next summer. I don't know. The last book that I have in my list is The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas. This book is intimidated for me because of the story, and I think this is definitely going to make me think about things that are actually happening in real life, like right now in the US, especially in the past few years. So let me just read the synopsis of the book, and then you probably know what I'm like talking about. So this is about 16-year-old Star Carter who moved between two worlds, the poor black neighborhood where she lives and the fancy suburban prep school she attends. The uneasy balance between these worlds is shattered when Star witnesses the fatal shooting of her childhood best friend Khalil at the hands of a police officer, and Khalil was unarmed. Soon afterward, Khalil's death is a national headline. Some are calling him a thug, maybe even a drug dealer and a gangbanger. Star's best friend at school suggests that he may have had it coming. When it becomes clear the police have little interest in investigating the incident, protesters take to the streets and Star's neighborhood becomes a war zone. What everyone wants to know is what really went down that night. And the only person alive who can answer that is Star. But what Star does or does not say could destroy her community. It could also endanger her life. So I feel like this is a very real story that I'm just intimidated to read because I know it's gonna be emotional. I know, it's just kind of based on events that have happened, and I don't know, it's just really intimidating, but I know I have to read this book. I just want to read about these events, and in order for me to educate myself as well as to learn and support and become an ally. Those are all of the books that I feel like is super intimidated for me to read, and I've been trying to avoid it. I've had this book since the beginning of the year, most of them I think. Convince me in a comment to read these books if you have read them and if they are your favorite, and stay tuned to hopefully get an update from me.